Social media has become a huge part of everyday life in today's society. It has been expanding and evolving ever since the creation of the internet in the late 1960s. Back then, it was used to share news and information with others in one common space. Although it is still used for those same reasons, it has grown so much and now has many different branches within the social media world. You can now find a social media site or app for just about any category, including dating, picture sharing, and finding your ancestors. Let us take you on a trip through time to show you how social media got started, how it got to where it is now, and how we believe it will be in the future.
Social media wouldn't be possible without the invention of the internet. The internet was not created by one sole person, but by many over time. The man who originated the idea of computers and the internet is known as Leonard Kleinrock, and this was proven in his paper, Information Flow and Large Communications, in 1961. From there, people started researching his work and adding on to ideas to improve the idea of mass communication. Through this, Usenet was born in 1979 by Tom Truscott and Jim Ellis. Usenet allowed users to post articles and information to news groups for other people to view. Unlike other similar programs, Usenet was different because it had no centralized server or dedicated administrator, meaning that anyone could access it and post to it. Following Usenet, along came the making of BBS.
The first BBSs came online in the late 1970s and were also a form of communication through personal computers. They were the first type of sites that allowed users to log on and interact with one another. It wasn't until 1989 that the first commercial ISP, also known as Internet Service Provider, was up and running for the public to access. Combining Usenet, BBS, and ISP, social media was conceived.
CompuServe was one of the first large-scale corporate attempts to bring an interactive social online experience to the masses. CompuServe was an online service that made the first online chat system called a CB simulator in the 1980s. Because they were the only chat service at the time, they took full advantage of this and charged a very high price for their system.
Around the same time that CompuServe was popular, Genie was also up and running. Genie stands for General Electric Network for Information Exchange and was an online service created by the General Electric business. Genie attracted many users with its roundtable discussions, chat lines, games, shopping, and internet access, which is why it was such a shock when the plug was pulled in 1999. Although this cancellation upset a lot of people, it was forgotten quickly when Genie was replaced with the much more impressive AOL.
Social media takes a huge turn for the best when AOL Instant Messenger is launched in 1997, all thanks to Steve Case and Jim Kimsey. The idea behind AOL was to create a place on the World Wide Web that even people unfamiliar with computers could easily access, unlike CompuServe, which was geared toward the tech-savvy. AOL had so much more to offer than anything else that had ever been created on the internet. It gave access to email, search engines, and the invention of instant message. It was also very easy and fast to navigate, just like Case and Kimsey geared it to be.
In 1997, Andrew Weinrich got the idea that people on the web needed a way to connect with family, friends, and acquaintances on one common website, and that is when he developed 6degrees.com. 6degrees.com was a social network service that was named after the 6 degrees of separation concept and made it so that users of the site could list the people they knew both on the site and externally. Users could send messages and post bulletin board items to people in their first, second, and third degrees, and then see their connection to any other user on the site. This was a nice way to connect with others and get in contact with people, but it unfortunately died in 2001, being replaced with more successful networking sites.
Here comes the 2000s. With technology taking the world by storm, cell phones are becoming very relevant, along with the frequent use of the internet by the average American. This budding industry had many first-time buyers in the early 2000s, and it was only progressed throughout the upcoming years. In these early years, many people were using the internet for the first time.
With all these new users joining the internet experience, we had a website called Friendster come along. This was one of the first legitimate social media websites to be created, and it was introduced in 2002. It enabled users to message one another and share media. It also had prospects of a dating website with notable features that encouraged you to make friends with those who are close to members you've already added. This site gained 3 million users in 3 months, but the excessive number of people logging in proved to be too much for the site, and it started to have problems leading to a decline in use. Eventually, it was considered obsolete to society and was turned into a game website very popular in Asia.
This downfall leads us to beloved MySpace. Created in 2003, it was a social media king at its height. MySpace had many features that were new to the social media world, including a large music area, customizable themes for your profile, and a top friends list. did a great job of personalizing social media and allowing a lot of user choice as to the MySpace experience. Users were able to private message other members and post comments to their page, and eventually introduced a MySpace chat between friends. This is the first social media I have ever used, and I witnessed firsthand the rise and fall of the website. It fell to the king of social media, Facebook, and has now become mostly for music. They tried revamping the website, but had very little success.
Facebook made its debut in 2004 by the legend himself, Mark Zuckerberg, in his college dorm room. Facebook started out exclusively at Harvard, but made its way campus to campus, its early exclusivity making it more and more popular. Mark Zuckerberg was claimed to have stolen the idea from a set of twin brothers and later had to pay a settlement because of it. Facebook gave you a wall to post on and a place to add your friends, family, and classmates. That way you can stay in touch with them in various ways. Facebook since has carried the reign as top dog since the decline of MySpace. It periodically updates its user face but tries to keep it as basic as possible.
That looks good. That looks really good.
It's clean and simple. No Disneyland, no live new girls to watch. Relationship status. Interested in. This is what drives life in college. Are you having sex or aren't you? It's why people take certain classes and sit where they sit and do what they do and at some center, that's what the Facebook is going to be about. People are going to log on because after all the cake and watermelon, there's a chance they're actually going to
get laid.
Meet a girl. Yes.
Twitter is a close number 2 to Facebook. Shares little similarities with Facebook and is more about posting blurbs and thoughts than keeping track of friends. Instead of friends, you have followers, and being a follower, you are able to receive the person's tweets and tweet back at them. Its main purpose is for live updates to what a person is doing or thinking. The site was launched in 2006 and over time has gained millions of users. Celebrities have even taken a liking to it and have many followers.
With social media, like everything else, its creators had to find a way of making a profit. Like newspapers, social media sites took to advertisement. The site agrees to post advertisements for companies in turn for money. This method helps both parties. One gets paid and the other one gets prime ad space on a popular website with heavy traffic.
Among the websites listed, a whole category of niche websites came about with the different services provided to cater to the interests of people. We have LinkedIn, which connects people in the business world, providing them with an area to post resumes, get in contact with businesses, and network with others. Tumblr provides you with a blog, which enables you to post media and follow others and share photos and videos. eHarmony is set up as a social media website, but its main focus is to match singles and provide a space for two people to get to know each other through the internet.
With the invention of the smartphone, it has never been easier to access social media. Sites like Facebook and Twitter have made easy-to-use, on-the-go applications for phones. In doing so, making it possible to send or post a tweet just about anywhere. The ability to host applications on your device has resulted in several social media programs to be created. We now have Instagram, which sprang up from the app era, allowing you to follow your friends and post pictures for your followers to see. With the popularity of Instagram being noticed by Facebook, they quickly bought up the company. Vine was created as the video counterpart, enabling you to post short videos for your friends to see. Snapchat, unlike Instagram, doesn't house photos, but allows you to send pictures and videos back and forth with a friend.
In the future of social media, it will only grow larger. There is no going back now. We have become accustomed to being interconnected through these sites in a way that could never be taken away from us. There is a vast majority of people that have an almost psychological need to see what John Smith did Saturday night and see the pictures Jane Doe took on her summer trip to Italy. No matter how impersonal you think a computer is, we want to feel personal connections through it from friends, family, and even acquaintances. New forms of social media will come into play, trying to revolutionize the market and take a stab at beating media giants like Facebook on numbers of users.
Teens will continue to siphon through these new forms of media, making fans out of the best sites, as parents will always be 2 steps behind them on what's new and hip. Facebook will remain important in the aspect of staying close to family members and friends, and will put up a valiant fight to stay relevant with much more success than MySpace. Realistically, though, it will most likely be phased out at some point for something similar, with a fresh name and somewhat different interface. Professionals predict that in order to stay on top, they will try and buy out emerging social media companies.
Apps will continue to thrive as they can keep us connected at all times of the day. In fact, they will only become more predominant in our daily lives. As on the web, They will continue to add features and make their apps more appealing to customers. They will keep their users entertained while making money off advertising and downloads. As long as we have smartphones, apps will remain in the presence of our social lives, just for the pure ease of use.